We get back to that. Are there any available on the 28th?
Yeah.
Next.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order.
We'll do roll call, please. Opposed. Alicia?
Present.
Jane?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
And myself. Okay, notice of public meeting and how it was given per Wisconsin statute 19.84, 1 through 4. Notices provided to the Rosholt School District Board of Education, WSBT, WDUX, WSAU, and WOZZ radio stations. Published in the Rosholt Record, Stevens Point Journal, and posted at the First Community Bank and various places within the district. This meeting was posted according to the Wisconsin state statute, and proper notice was given to those following radio stations, which I just said. Let's see, check for verification from Dennis. Did you do all that?
We did, and we did receive our class 1 notification back in the mail just recently, so posted according to open meeting law records and annual meeting guidelines.
Okay. Presentation of the budget. Now we will have a presentation of the budget.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. This evening is really separated into two different meetings, if you will, two different aspects. The first one is a budget hearing where we just kind of go over the budget and talk about the proposed budget. We don't really receive our finalized numbers until mid-October. So this right now is a best estimate of what 2 years ago looked like, which has been audited. Last year looked like, which is currently in the auditing process, and then our proposed budget for the upcoming year. There's two things that we'll show. I have a short PowerPoint or slides presentation that we'll run through, and then I'll just briefly go through the booklet that you should have received. If you haven't received one of these booklets, there should be some copies on the front table here if you'd like to follow along when I get to that portion. The second portion of this meeting is actually where we have the annual meeting agenda, and that's where we will hear from our treasurer's report, and then we'll also have a number of resolutions that we ask the community to vote in or to approve. During the annual meeting sections of this meeting, anybody that is a resident over the age of 18 can make a motion and can second a motion and has every right to vote on that motion that's upon the floor for the annual meeting. So during the annual meeting, it's not just the board members. It'll be for community members to make motions and to make seconds and have the actual vote. Turning to the slideshow presentation. Again, this is the proposed 24-25 budget as prepared by myself and Rachel Pletz, our business office manager. And there's some things and some assumptions that we have to consider for the budget. This budget right now includes a 5% increase for support staff and a 3.574% increase for administrators and directors. There's also $6,000 calculated into this because our teachers have a schedule where when they complete their third year of their educator effectiveness cycle, there is a financial benefit there. We do have some increases in the benefits due to the district absorbing just a portion of the health insurance, and the WRS required contribution is going up just a little bit to 6.95%. And that is a matching contribution. So the employees also, if they're WRS eligible, they will contribute 6.95%. And then the district matches that 6.95% contribution to the WRS system. In general expenses, we anticipate holding steady. However, we have built in inflationary increases, which anybody that's gone to the grocery store lately knows that they're a little bit above average because inflation is much higher than my career has ever shown, because we were used to, even 5 years ago, having a maximum of 2% or 1% or 0.6% in consumer price index. And now we're seeing 4.7s, 8.1s, 4.1s. And those things are obviously out there and hurting people's pocketbooks, even grocery, gas, all those common things. The proposed budget, we do see some decreased expenses over last year. This is mostly attributed to not purchasing a school bus in the 24-25 school year and having minimal construction roofing costs in 24-25. For the 23-24 school year, the school board did approve taking money out of our fund balance to complete a roofing project that is ongoing. They're nearing completion. The great news is for 30 years, there should be no issues with the roof because we do have a 30-year manufacturer and installation warranty. So in essence, everybody that's working at the school now should never have to worry about a roof in their working career moving forward. But we still have a little bit of that money out there, but the expenses have decreased. Again, we need to remember that a budget is an estimate, and this proposed budget is based in part on July 1 general aid estimates, land valuations, and our proposed spending for the next school year. We have not received finalization, or we won't receive finalization until October, and then we start to really focus in. So I always like to say that this is kind of a funnel approach. So we're starting here with July numbers, and then we kind of funnel in and we get a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And then by the time we get to October, we get our actual information, and that's when the board will set the actual tax levy for the upcoming school year. We do need to create and approve a proposed budget at the beginning of the school year because we do need to continue with operations until we get to October. We still have payroll expenses. We still pay for diesel fuel for the buses. We still pay for curricular materials to educate our students. And that's why it's important, because we have this few month gap, if you will, in budgetary things. So that's why it's very important that we continue our operations. In order to finalize our budget, we will have to have our open enrollment count that initially gets set after third Friday, because in third Friday count in September, not only do we receive our total number of students that are attending school, but that may also, depending on different circumstances, finalize our open enrollment. Right now, the board in January had set the limits for special ed enrollments, open enrollments into the district at 0 because we didn't have space. During third Friday, we reevaluated that. We may have had some families move out of the district. We might have had some families move in, and there may be the opportunity to accept some other open enrollments into the district, which would be a better financial situation for the district. We also have our resident pupil count, as we talked about. Again, that's finalized on third Friday. October 1, we have the state information, and usually that comes out in October. Sometimes I shouldn't say in October, in early October. Sometimes it doesn't go out until that final date on the 15th, but that's what we need to have in order to finalize our tax levy. And then our property values. We received evaluations that still need to incorporate the information into the revenue limit workshop. We've worked through that, and Rachel and I have put that together. Rachel's got that pretty much finalized, but again, we're waiting, as I said earlier, waiting for some auditors' numbers. We did have a new auditor this year, and so their process is a little different. So I can't say with certainty that our unaudited numbers from last year are 100% accurate at this time. We're still waiting on our auditing report. When we take a look at these are the proposed revenues for 24-25. You look back in 22-23, we have actual revenues to 23-24. Again, is that unaudited? There may be some fluctuation there based on some of the auditor's findings. But proposed, we're looking at increasing a little bit, if you will, about $400,000. That, again, is based on the information that we have at this time. When we take a look at our expenses, as stated before, we are showing just a small decrease in expenses. Now, I will say that we were able to have most of the roofing costs put onto last year's budget. However, they have not invoiced us for their final prep work, and that is not shown here, which would be about $250,000. So if you take a look at our expenses going from 10 million down to 9.7, if we calculate then that 250-ish, then we're getting pretty close to equal, pretty close to even. Take a look at the bottom line. If we take a look at total revenues, total expenditures, and surplus to deficit, you can see, again, from our unaudited numbers, our roofing project was, I want to say it was about $860,000. We have about 2/3 of that covered, so we paid for a little over $500,000 of that. We only showed a deficit of about $400,000, so we were able to make up some ground in other areas, but still showing a deficit for last year. Knowing that we have 250 or so still to come on the roof, that will be placed into the 24-25 proposed budget, but that is not shown in these numbers. So they take a look at that 395. We're looking less than that just because of those numbers, but still in the positive at this point for the proposed budget for 24-25. Now we'll turn our attention to the annual meeting booklet. Again, if you don't have this, there are copies available. Page 2 is just a table of contents, kind of directs to everything, and then page 3 talks about what a tax levy is or what are revenue limits. So this is the same booklet that we've had year after year, so I'm not going to go through this in depth, but basically the legislators of our state put in revenue limits back in 93, 94, which means that there were certain limitations put in, mostly because of taxes and trying to curb that and not have taxes that were growing leaps and bounds on an annual basis. Take a look at our tax levy summary. You can see that over time, and this is specific data to Rosholt, so we go back to 2015, we're about $3.5 million, and now we're estimating the tax levy to be about 4.23 for 2024-25. And again, when we think of tax levy, that's made up of a number of different things. You may hear sometimes where legislators will say, "Oh, we're giving I think last year they said it is unprecedented amount to schools." Sometimes that doesn't come through as spendable money, however, because what sometimes happens is they'll say, "Okay, your equalization aid goes up by $300,000," but what that means is that we can't charge $300 in local taxes. So although more money is coming in from the state, our local revenue source goes down to get to that same revenue limit. So sometimes it is tax relief and not new dollars to spend in the school. And so sometimes you have to read between the lines to understand exactly what the school is getting or what the school is not getting. Things that are outside of the revenue limit would be things like referendums, things like our Fund 80, which is our community fund, any donations or gifts or requests, those would come to the school district, and that would be things outside of the revenue limit. People talk about mill rate, and basically it's represented, it's equal to $1 of tax for each $1,000 of assessment, and it's called the mill rate. So if you take a look at the mill rate for Rosholt here, we're in the blue line, and the state average is located there in the red line. There's been a couple of times that we've been above and a couple of times that we've been below. Mostly we're trending below. It does look like this year forecasting that we'll be above state average as we increase a little bit. And again, here's the same data that was on the previous graph, where it shows the percentage of increase, the equalized valuation, the tax levy, and then the mill rate. So going back 10 years, you see our mill rate was well over 10, and then it slowly decreased. Last year was 7.91, and this year we're looking at a proposed mill rate of 7.99. Next, we just have the agenda for the budget hearing, which we're on step 3 of the budget hearing. We'll get to the annual meeting, and again, that's where we invite our community members to participate with the board. The resolutions that are up for adoption this evening are up next. Basically, we have some things that we have to do. It's up to the local stakeholders to approve the tax levy, which will be set at $4,225,862 for the upcoming school year. We also have a resolution that selects Community First Bank and the local government pool as a place of depository for our school funds, because we want to make sure that we have banks made. We also take a look at transportation. According to state statute, we have to adopt a resolution that says that we will pick up our students in school buses and bring them to school. Lucky for Rosholt, we do that throughout the entire community of Rosholt, including the village. There's some places that have a hazardous transportation plan that if there's no hazardous crossings or river crossings or state highways or anything, many school districts will say that if it's a mile away, we're not going to pick you up with our school transportation, which means sometimes we have parents dropping off or kids walking quite a distance. Luckily for us here, we've been able to avoid that. Resolution 4 pertains to our school lunch program, saying that we will operate a school lunch program so we can feed our students. Resolution 5 is that if we would have to, we could borrow money for the immediate expenses of maintaining the school district. Sometimes that short-term borrowing for smaller school districts happens in December to make payroll until we get to our January state aid payment from the state. Resolution number 6 is authorizing the Board of Education to find prosecution and defense if necessary. If there's some things that go wrong in school or proceed to go wrong, and there would be suits brought against the school. Resolution number 7 pertains to selling equipment that may be outdated or no longer needed for the school. And sometimes that can be a source of revenue outside of the normal means. Resolution 8 is all about school board salaries. Presently, we have the president receiving $215.80 a month, and all of the board members $204.95, and $25 per special meetings. Although, as we can attest to over the past year, the special meeting seems to be some of the most conversation, the longer meetings, and the most difficult decisions. Resolution 9 is authorizing the district to set the date and the hour of the annual meeting to be held between May 15th and October 31st. And traditionally, that would place the meeting on Monday, August 11th. But we've had now 2 years of conflict with village meetings. So I'm going to put it on the board agenda for March, April, May timeframe, where we can actually set the date as the board. So that way we might be able to avoid the conflict. With our new auditors, we'll probably have a recommendation to move that back to maybe the second Tuesday of September, just because of auditing numbers, because it's a little bit different process, taking a little bit longer. And this year being the first year or two, it's one of those things where what do they need and what are they requesting different than what we're normally used to. But we will have a recommendation in those spring months. Then we get to our Board of Education. Here's contact information, email addresses. If you don't already have them, you can contact our school board via those email addresses, and they will respond, at least from what I've heard. You've been responding, so thank you. We then go to our district.
We need to make the change.
Oh, I'm sorry. And a point of correction. In your booklet, I believe at the very, very top of the Board of Education statement, it says that the Board of Education meets on the third Wednesday of every month, and that is incorrect. The board now meets on the third Monday of every month. So if we'd already printed out the booklets, and I said that's a pretty quick adjustment. I forgot to update it from the last year, so that's a knock on me. Proofreading mistake that it's just Scott, and we had already printed it, so we said let's roll them out, and we'll just make sure that we inform people. But we do meet on the third Monday of each month. We then go to our district mission and our vision, education is the way of life, and our district vision. Rosholt School District recognizes that the education of the children is a shared responsibility of the school, the family, and the community. And working together, we believe our mission is to share knowledge, help children become problem solvers and seekers of information, promote respect for self and others, encourage positive choices, help students cope with the changing world, and instill an appreciation of lifelong learning. We show our district enrollment. Again, 24-25 is proposed enrollment. But we can see that over the past few years, we have been in that declining enrollment. And I should clarify, membership is how many students are within our district, even if they open enroll or attend private school or whatever it might be. Enrollment is who is here, in the seats of the school district. So if you go back about 12, 15 years, we had an enrollment of about 645, 650, and now we're down to the upper 400. So over the last decade and a half, we have been getting smaller. And again, just depicted on a different graph. Open enrollment basically means that students that are in our district can open enroll out to a different school district. Other students from other districts open enroll in to the Rosholt School District. And we've received more open enrollment ins which I think is a good sign. It still doesn't match our open enrollment out, so we would be open enrollment negative at this point in time, because we've also seen, an increase there. So we have 99 out and 65 in, which is better than 98 out and 54 in last year. So hopefully we're getting a little bit closer to net neutral with the open enrollments. When it comes to the budget on page 12, again, this is broken down a little bit further. So again, we have three columns. We have the audited column, which is our hard fast numbers from 22-23. They've been through the audit. Those are final numbers. Our unaudited numbers from 23-24, which we still have to receive the final word from our auditors. And every now and then there's several adjusting entries that has to happen based on certain things like our special ed fund or our food service fund. We would transfer from Fund 10, which adjusts things slightly. Always ebb and flow. And then we have our budget for 24-25, as we've already kind of had a brief glance at in the PowerPoint. But this takes a look at the different source numbers. So we have source 100, which is transfers in. We have local sources for the 200s, interdistrict payments, 300s and 400s. We have our state sources with 600, federal sources 700, and then all other sources with the 800 and 900. So it kind of breaks it down a little bit clearer to where much of the revenue is coming from. As we take a look at expenditures and other financing that is used throughout the course of time, we break it down into not only instructional support, non-program, but we also break it down into different funds. So we have a special projects fund, we have a debt service fund, we have capital projects, we have a community fund. There's a bunch of different funds that are available. And again, this breaks down that information into those different funds to try to be a little bit more transparent and to show where the different money is going. Food service, community service, package and cooperative program. And then at the very bottom, we take a look at all the funds that come together. And again, when we take a look at the general fund, we are projecting a small increase to that. But again, these are based on estimates. They're based on numbers that will be changing before we get to October timeframe where we set our tax levy. We follow this up with some budget terminology about what the different funds are. We take a look at the different sources of revenues and of the funds, and again, more information and hopefully explanation of where the money comes in and where it goes. Follow up, we have the different objects or the expenditures and what money is being spent on. And those are just all the different sources of where our money goes. Because in the end, we take a look at all of our income, we take a look at all of our expenses, and at the end of the day, we hope that we are very close to being net neutral, because if we have just a ton of money left over, we're probably overtaxing our community. If we have a ton of money that we had to take out of fund balance, that means we ran a deficit budget and we didn't account for all the expenditures that we've had. So the goal of the school district is to be very close to being neutral and have a very little deficit or a very little deposit into the fund balance at the end of the school year. At this point, that completes my presentation of the annual meeting packet. I'm subject to any questions that the community and or board may have.
All right, well, we're at that point of this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? James, okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, Alicia. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, any abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. All right, well, we're going to go now to the annual meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order, and it is 6:25. That's what it says in my watch, so we'll go by that. All right, roll call. James.
Here.
Matt.
Here.
Chris.
Here.
Alicia. Here. And myself. Okay, we will now elect a chairperson to preside over the meeting. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Carl.
You nominate Carla.
Second.
You will second it. You will third it. I think there's a second. Okay, Carla, do you accept this nomination? I want to ask myself. Yes, okay, all those in favor of having Carla be the chairperson of the annual meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Carla will proceed over the rest of the meeting. All right. Is there a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Tricia Kurtzman for secretary.
Okay. Is there a second? Who is
Terry LeMancher.
Gary? Okay, sorry. All right, all those in favor of oh, but Trish, do you accept this nomination?
Yes, I do.
All right, want to make sure of that. Okay, all those in favor of having Trish Kurtzman serve as our secretary for the annual meeting, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Trish Kurtzman, you will now record the minutes for the annual meeting. Okay. We will now have the treasurer's report. Matt, that's yours.
Perfect. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to welcome you to the annual meeting and budget presentation for the Rosholt School District for the 2024 through 2025 school year. This budget was approved for presentation by the Board of Education at its July special board meeting. On page 12 and 13 of your annual budget hearing, you will find a proposed budget summary. The budget requirements comply with the Department of Public Instruction and state auditing requirements. On page 13, you will find the proposed 2023 to 2024 school tax levy. If there aren't any questions, on behalf of the Board of Education, I would ask the electors of the district to approve a tax levy of $4,233,862 for the 2024 through 2025 school year.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to.
Okay, Tricia, is there a second?
Angela Steinhauer.
Okay, thank you. I could hear it over there, but I didn't know who it was. All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Are there any abstentions? Okay, the motion is carried. All right, approval of minutes of the budget hearing and annual meeting from August 21st, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the 2023 budget hearing and annual meeting? Do I have a motion by anyone? Thank you, Carrie. Is there a second? I will second it. All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the 2023 budget hearing and annual meeting, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. Resolutions. Resolution number 1. Be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to section 120.110(8) of the Wisconsin statute that the tax levy for the 2024-25 school year shall be set at $4,233,862. Is there a motion to approve the resolution to set the tax levy at $4,233,862 for the 2024-25 school year? Do I have a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
If we say it needs to be more or less, what happens?
That is a good question. I guess,
Maybe show us some proof. Show us why.
The reality is that until we get our official numbers, we don't know. So this is our best proposed budget. So when it comes to October, then the board will set the levy based on the finite steadfast numbers. So at this point in time, we're saying this is our proposed budget. This is where we would set our tax levy to be this in the proposed budget, knowing that there's going to be some adjustments. Now, will it be millions of dollars adjustments? It will not. But there could be some fluctuation and variation moving forward. So again, the purpose of an annual meeting tonight is to inform the public of what the proposed budget looks like with our best estimates at this time, knowing then they have kind of a dollar figure in their mind, kind of know rough numbers, which then we finalize in October as a board.
Anybody else have any questions?
I don't know if it matters, but that number up there is different than the number on the
Well, and
tax.
This is 25 and it should be 33,862.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, 4,200.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for that correction. Okay, did you get that correction, Trish?
Yes.
Okay, and you do, okay. So do I have a motion so we can vote on this one way or another? Do you have a motion to approve this resolution or not approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Tricia, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Okay, all those in favor to approve the resolution to set the tax levy at $4,233,862 for the school year 2024-25. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. Okay. Resolution number 2. Be resolved by the electors of the Wisconsin, oh my goodness, Rosholt School District that Community First Bank and the local government investment pool shall be designated as the local places for depository for school funds. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Mary Klein so moves.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alicia, second? Okay. All right, all those in favor to approve the resolution for the local depositories, yeah. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. If I read anything too fast, please let me know. Authorization to provide student transportation. This is our resolution number 3. Be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to section 121.51 and 121.55 of the Wisconsin statutes that the school board is hereby authorized to provide transportation for students residing within the school district, to include within 2 miles radius of the school building, and to purchase liability insurance for pupil travel. Is there a motion to approve the resolution in order for the school district to provide transportation?
Mary Klein so moves.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Carrie, okay. Okay, all those in favor are to approve the resolution in order for the school district to provide transportation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. Carrie, is that with 2 R's?
Legally is Carolyn.
Oh, Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Okay, thank you. All right, authorization to operate a school lunch program. Number 4, be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to section 120.10(16) of the Wisconsin statutes that the school board is hereby authorized to provide a school lunch program to the pupils of the district and appropriate funds for that purpose. Furthermore, the school board is authorized to pay a deficiency that may result from said lunch program from the general fund. Is there a motion to approve the resolution allowing the school district to provide a school lunch program? Do I have a motion? Chris, okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Angela? Did you? Oh, okay. All those in favor of approving the resolution for allowing the school district to provide a school lunch program, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. All right. Resolution number 5. This is to allow the district for short-term borrowing. Be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District that the Rosholt School Board is hereby authorized to borrow money for the immediate expenses of maintaining the school district under section 67.12, 8 and 8A of the Wisconsin statute. Is there a motion to approve the resolution to allow the Rosholt School District to short-term borrow during the 2024-25 school year if needed? Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion.
Carrie, okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Trish? Are you keeping up with it? Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution to allow the Rosholt School District short-term borrowing during the 2024-25 school year if needed? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. Resolution number 6, be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to section 120.10(4) of the Wisconsin statutes that school board is hereby authorized to provide for the prosecution and defense of any legal action or processing in which the district is involved during the 2024-25 school year. Is there a motion to approve the resolution to allow the Rosholt School District to use legal services for prosecution and or defense during the 2024-25 school year? Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Yeah, okay, is there a second? James will second it. Okay, all those in favor to approve the resolution to allow the Rosholt School District to use legal service for prosecution and or defense during the 2024-25 school year. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay. Resolution number 7. Be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to section 120.10(12) of the Wisconsin statute that the school board is hereby authorized to sell any equipment or property belonging to and not needed by the school district.
Mary Clyde so moves.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Tricia, okay. All those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution allowing the Rosholt School District to sell property that may no longer be needed by the district during the 2024-25 school year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Authorization to set board member salaries. Be it resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to the Wisconsin Statute 120.10(3) that the salaries of the school board members for the 2024-25 school year be blank amount per member and president, and that school board members be paid a per diem stipend for each committee meeting or special board meeting attended, as well as mileage reimbursement at the IRS rate. Currently, $215.80 per month for president, $204.95 month for others, $25 per special meeting plus mileage. Is there a motion to approve the resolutions pertaining to the school board?
I motion on pay freeze.
Okay, what would you like, right? Let's go with the members first. The members are $204.95,
Keep it the same.
okay? And for president,
To
the president is
250.
$215.80. Keep that the same, okay?
I think we have way too many special meetings, so I didn't say cancel the special meetings. Zeros. Get the per diem for mileage.
Okay, so your motion would be to keep the wages as the same, but excluding committee meetings or special board meetings.
Yes.
Okay? Do I have a second on this?
I'll second.
Okay? All right. All those in favor of, let's see how to do this, the keeping the same amount for members of 204.95 and the president at 215.80 and cancel the stipend of $25 on, just have mileage reimbursed. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
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 Might have to do a show of hands.
Okay, let's do nays.
You guys can vote.
No, board members can't vote.
Okay, and any abstentions? Okay, the motion did not get carried. Okay, so we need to go back and figure out what we're gonna do with this. Does anybody else have a different motion?
Put the $25 back on, but it's freeze it all the way it was last year. I'll motion that.
That it just stays the way it was last year?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did you want to take the zero away from special meetings to, incentivize them not to have special meetings?
See, like everything's hid behind consent agenda. They discuss, when I come to the meetings, they discuss stuff. And then you hear concerns, when they vote on it, it's yay, no. When you don't, then everything is decided in special meetings. We don't see nothing here in the meetings. It's either closed session or special meetings.
My question is, are special meetings made, does something come up that you need to make a special meeting and not wait until the next?
Yes,
meeting?
that's correct.
Correct, and those are open to the public unless it's like a student expulsion would be a special meeting where we would start the meeting, go immediately into closed session, and then carry out that process in a closed session. Other special board meetings are open to the public. There may or may not be a closed session for that.
You had a special meeting last August about the flooring. You let me speak, I was thankful for that. But when we left that day, you said we're gonna get public opinion. The next Monday, you had an athletic meeting and you had a special meeting and pushed that flooring through. And before, on Monday night, the kids went through it for the special, or for athletic meeting, he was already painting for the actual flooring. So it was already done before he was considered. So why was there a special, you just ran around and did it through, you just pushed it through.
There was a board member that called this special meeting.
To me, it's funny how that stuff works. It's all decided in special meetings and,
And it was posted in accordance to
yeah, and I
to our
could,
state statutes.
yeah, but it just, still, it seems like we have a lot of special meetings. Some are relevant, I'll agree that, but some of them, we had 2 foreign meetings in 2 weeks. After the whole group said they were gonna wait in public opinion. A lot of stuff changes like that.
And I think in that specific situation, I cannot speak to all special meetings, but in that specific situation, there was a time constraint that would not allow for completion before the school year. So I think that's also something that came into play when the board member called that follow-up special meeting.
But then again, when you get public opinion, you just are going to what you want.
How many special board meetings were there last year?
I just counted 8. 1, 2. So starting in July, there were 2 in July, 1 in August, 2 in November, 1 in January, 1 in May, 2 in May. So $25 a piece, that's an extra $200. But that doesn't,
Then for games for everybody, I'll think about, it's probably about $40 a meeting then. 25.
Think anybody, didn't we collect any per diem?
no,
We don't get mileage unless.
No,
oh,
the
it's
mileage
something.
doesn't refer to coming to the meeting.
You thought it was,
The mileage refers for like, if we asked Matt to go to a meeting in Madison, we would pay him mileage to attend it.
somebody last year, it seemed like it was,
Oh, it's
you
actually
got,
a meeting.
it actually means.
No, none of us, there,
And
that
then-
doesn't ever.
And I'll tell you what, there isn't a board member here who wants extra meetings.
No.
Nobody here wants to spend more time and come to actual meetings. Nobody wants that. We're doing it because we have to get something done. I mean, nobody wants that, okay?
I just wish you'd see more stuff being done in regular meetings. When I come to them, it seems like I see here discussions about some things, issues, and then it seems like everything's hidden over the consent agenda, and if everything gets passed with that, or you'll see somebody, I don't know, it just,
Can you give specifics?
well, people are retiring or something, it's all approved, but nobody, you don't hear who it is. It's just approved that you accept the resignation or accept the resignation of the teachers. Just,
So if I'm hearing him correctly, it may not be a special meeting issue. It's more about what's being shared and what's being communicated to us in the meetings. They can pervade.
that too, but it just how you get to that, like with the roofing, I talked to Mr. Kaiser. Asked what word all bids. I like to know where my money's been spent. You said we had 4 different bids. Well, we just heard that you took back enough. And you explained it to me afterwards, and I was thankful. But just stuff like that, and I don't know, I guess I understand the special meeting for the roofing and some of the issues, but to have the floor meeting twice in 2 weeks, it just blew my mind. And in other meetings, you have kids petitioning, and some are being heard, some aren't. And I see a lot of things changing, and I don't know if it's for the better.
And just a comment about the roofing. We had a special meeting, we went into close because we had multiple presentations that night, and so each one of those
Yeah, I understand.
was specific. But then coming out of that, the board did make a decision, and that was never, there was never a follow-up, there was never a communication of that, just said, oh, we're gonna get the roof done.
We just said it in the next meeting, you said, here it is, this is who we picked. You
Yeah.
didn't say, well, this one offered this much, and this one offered, you know, the prices were, this one offered more, till I called you and talked to you, then you
Correct.
explained it all to me. That's what the community members need to hear, that their money's being spent good, rather than, oh, we just picked this guy. Is it friends of somebody, or, you know, we don't know.
Well, for example, where I think you're going, and if you look, for example, if you look at Amherst School District, their entire school board packet is online before the school board. And it gives employee resignation letters. It gives that transparency that you're looking for. And it is posted there versus just the like condensed version of what's going on. So then, you know, when that's, and I know that takes a lot of time to put together, but you're already putting it together for the board, and it should be transparent to the community members.
And arguably, some districts do and some districts don't. Those are all open requestable. You know, so that is something that people can, but then that creates more work on the back end for people to
Yeah.
try to do that. So if we're doing it already, that's a possibility.
And some school districts are saying, you come for them, you get $200 a month or $225, that you're for all the meetings, you don't get extra pay for special meetings. There are some like that too.
And some boards and some, when it comes to board pay, there's some that just have an annual stipend regardless. This could say, okay, it's gonna be, I don't know, say it's $1,500 for the year. If there's 12 meetings or if there's 36, it's the same amount. There's some communities that have done that. To my knowledge, Rosholt traditionally has not done that. But there are districts out there that have.
And you have to have bare minimum, have one meeting per month during the school year round.
It's not a minimum.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You have to have a minimum of one board meeting per month?
Yes,
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but we can't not get paid because even when I was first signed up, we had to take a salary because you are an employee, otherwise it was a liability, right? It was,
there is a way that you can waive the salary, but the district has to offer the salary because you're now a paid employee of the district. Now, can a board member waive that? Sure. Just like there is the option, because again, you get a conflict of interest stuff, but can a board member volunteer to drive a school bus? They can. They cannot get paid to drive a school bus even though they're an employee, because that could potentially be a conflict of interest down the road. So there's a bunch of different rules that pertain to board members and their service. But the district has to offer some sort of compensation for the annual or for the monthly meetings. And sometimes people choose to waive that, some people don't choose to waive that, but that would be an option.
Then I'll motion that we keep the pay, just everything as it is right now. 215.80 for the president, 204, and 25 for special.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, there is a motion now on the table to approve the resolution to have what do I want to say here? Hold on, let me get it. To keep the payment and special meeting per se as it is right now. So that would mean the president would get 215.80, board members would get 204.95 and $25 for special meeting, and plus the mileage if we send too far away. Okay, all those in favor, let's do a show of hands for this motion. Okay, those opposed? Okay, any abstentions? All right, motion was carried. It'll stay the same as is. All right. Be resolved by the electors of the Rosholt School District pursuant to section 120.081 of the Wisconsin statute that the school board is hereby authorized to establish the date and hour of the annual meeting to be held between May 15th of 2025 and October 31st of 2025. Are we setting this date or what?
No, but again, the question is, are we setting the date? We're not setting the date. Current practice would schedule the meeting on Monday, August 11th of 2025. However, because the last 2 years we've had conflicts with other meetings and whatnot, the resolution just says, and it's in conjunction with the state statute, that it has to be after May 15th, but it has to occur before October 31st. So by approving this resolution, we're basically saying that the electors know that the annual meeting has to be between those timeframes, but the board actually will set the meeting date in the spring of 2025 and then publicize that meeting date, hopefully to avoid other conflicts, because I know there's a couple people that addressed me again this year saying, hey, the village board meeting, there's something on that agenda. I got to go to that one. I wish I could come, but I can't. And so if we could somehow avoid conflict, we may receive more attendees.
Okay, so then the motion to approve the resolution allowing the school board to establish the meeting date of the annual meeting within the range set forth by section 120.08, which is between May 15th of 2025 and October 31st of 2025. And in the spring of 2025, the board will set a date and notify. So do I have a motion for that? Angela, are you ready?
Yeah, that's kind of a motion.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I was itching my head. That's fine.
Is there a second? That's what it's like. Okay, Jeremy. All those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution for the school board to establish the meeting date of the annual meeting within the ranges set forth by section 120.08 of Wisconsin statute, and in the spring of 2025, the board will set a date and notify the public. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. Any other new business within the power and authority of the annual meeting? Anything else? Anybody have anything they wish to ask about? Yes, Angela.
Where's Dennis's yellow shirt?
Where's Dennis's yellow shirt?
Usually you have yellow on.
He's mosing me today, I guess.
Well,
It's all good.
frankly, I knew the purple one would fit today.
That happens to the best of us, so it's all good.
Okay.
And arguably it doesn't, but closer.
Okay, and,
I move we adjourn.
okay, Mary Klein adjourned. Do I have a second? Okay, and Carrie will second. All those in favor of adjourning the annual meeting, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Anybody want to stay long? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you all for coming. And thank you for your